He is 25 years old. He's going to go, hot damn, I got the day off. I'll do whatever I want to do. That won't work. What we should do is call him in and say, Harry, baby, it's not working because you're not working. If you do it one more time, you are fired. Got it? Fired. Read my lips. Fired. You will be on the street 10 minutes after it happens. And then, when he does it, make it happen. In other words, deal with people in terms of consequences. Set up consequences. If we would deal with one another using consequences, the world would work much more effectively. In many cases, we don't set up consequences for other people's behavior. Parents tell their children, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. The kid keeps doing it, keeps doing it, keeps doing it. Employees are told, don't do that, they keep doing it, nothing ever happens. If we deal with one another with consequences, people learn very fast. The world would work better if it worked with consequences. The world would work better if it worked like gravity. Gravity always works. You always know the consequences. We learned this as a very little kid. You get off balance, boom, you get hurt. We don't like to get hurt, so we learn to keep our balance. Setting up consequences and following through with the surety of gravity with those consequences will have a tremendous impact on people in terms of changing their behavior. It can create significant emotional events. Now, if you want to create a significant emotional event, you should also be very, very aware that there is a range of possibilities, literally a spectrum of types of situations and approaches that can be used. For example, at one extreme, there is an approach that can be very, very physical, that can be very, very negative. For some people, for some circumstances, for some situations, that is the only approach that can be used. The physical, the negative, even the violent. According to the conditions, according to the personalities of people, according to management styles, according to a whole series of variables that you have to analyze in the situation, that may be the only approach that you can take. But there is another extreme that is also possible in terms of creating significant emotional events, change within people. At that other extreme, we have a completely opposite approach. It can be totally positive and completely verbal. And in some cases, that can just as effectively change people. Now, I know this is true, especially on something like the personalities of people, because I have twin boys that are 4 years old. For one of those twins, you have to take this extreme approach of physical negative. He is like the classic jackass that has to be hit between the eyes with a 2x4 to get his attention to begin to communicate. He would make you believe in the reincarnation of Attila the Hun. But for the other twin, with just a few words, that kid can be totally reduced to tears. He is so sensitive verbally. He's so sensitive to the feelings of other people. Those are two individuals born 15 minutes apart and dramatically different. We have to consider individuals and their personalities and the circumstances and the situation. Now, at one extreme of the physical negative, we see that sometimes things are going to be unpleasant. Several years ago, when I was with the University of Colorado as an administrator, we ran into a lot of problems with the students. We got a brand new building. We loved that new building. For most of us, it was the only brand new professional home we would ever get. And we decided when we got our new building, we were going to protect it, that we were not going to let them trash it out. So we started hassling them. We went on hall patrol. We put up signs. We had some really unpleasant experiences, but basically, we protected our building. Most people today think that building is 2 years old instead of the 10 years old that it really is. It's had absolutely no maintenance. We were willing to be responsible for our world and for dealing with people in that world. Now, the psychologists, by the way, told us we couldn't do that. You'll never control people, they said. We said wrong. If you tell them you're going to kill them, and they believe you, you'll change their behavior. And it worked. The psychologists got a new building 5 years ago. In 6 months, it looked like a ghetto because they didn't even try. But we protected our building. Well, all that went very well until the mid-1970s. We had a completely new problem. On a wave called ecology came bicycles, thousands and thousands of bicycles. Prior to that time, if you rode a bike on a college campus, people laughed and threw rocks. But all of a sudden, it became the in thing to do. Well, our students didn't want to leave their bicycles outside because at the University of Colorado, it gets cold on their little fanny when they got to ride it off, or they were stealing them from one another. So they started bringing the bikes in the building. You can't have that. You'll tear up a building if you start throwing bicycles all around. So we fought them again. We went on hall patrol. We built new racks, and it all worked very well until one day I was walking down the hall, and I see this girl with the bicycle. She's donking along. Just about the time I got to her, she slammed it into a wall of curved paneling that I remember cost $150 a sheet when it was installed. And the bike went, and I went, overload, 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 and I started stomping the living shit out of her bicycle. It was one of those nifty little Italian jobs. It was just going everywhere. People were screaming, yelling, carrying on. I was really embarrassed. But I finally got enough control to whirl around and look at her and say, look, bitch, let's think about it this way. You're here 2 years, you leave, you don't give a damn whether this building falls down or not. But I had to work for it, sweat for it, I care about it, I'm responsible for it. And because that's the way it is, baby, from now on we're going to play a little game. And it works like this. You break my toy, and I'm going to break your toy. You get that bike out of here. For that girl, that was a significant emotional event. And we've hardly had a bicycle in the building since then. Because the kids say, Massey's crazy, he'll attack. And I will. I watch for him like a hawk. Now, it's a very unpleasant circumstance, but it did change the behavior. It created a significant emotional event. Sometimes that's the only approach that's necessary. The physical, the negative, even the violent. But in other situations, that positive verbal approach will work. And I would like for you to think of another four-letter word as a wrap-up idea. And that word that fits in at this other extreme of creating change in people is care. Care. Think about caring. A lot of people in our society don't care. They don't care to vote. They don't care about their children. There are over 1 million reported cases of abused children in this country each year. Parents aren't caring. Employers don't care about their employees. They don't communicate with their employees. A number one criticism of employees in every area across our system is that they don't know what the employer expects them to do. And so consequently, they're operating in the dark. Employees don't care about their employers. A recent report said that the average worker wastes 4.5 hours each week. A little extra coffee break time, come in a little late, leave a little early, pocket a few things here, take a little thing away over there. That's all adding up to not caring. People don't care. They don't give a damn. In education, in the military, in government, across our system, an awful lot of people don't care. What we care about, what we don't care about, what we believe in, what we don't believe in, those things, too, are directly rooted in our gut-level value system. If we care, we can change other people. Now, you know, that really sounds hokey, doesn't it? To talk about caring? I mean, we have such sophistication in today's world. We have computers that can virtually think. We have management philosophies and theories. We have an unbelievable technology and sophistication. And a lot of people don't care. They don't give a damn about anything or anyone except their own sweet little self, because that's the way they've been programmed to think. That's the way they've been programmed to relate to the world. But if we care, if we love, if we show that we really appreciate other people, we can create significant emotional events. We can change them. Now, I know that's true, because a couple of years ago, when I decided I was going to start talking about this, I thought, I have to change myself. So I decided to start with that 58-year-old troll I mentioned. And I started dealing with her in a different way. I used to interact with her when she had screwed up, and I thought she screwed up a lot. Virginia, you've done it again. And she just was more troll-like than ever. But I changed. I started going up to her and saying, Virginia, thank you. Thanks for doing a good job. Thanks for helping out. Thanks for being here. It was a pat on the back. For real. Sometimes I would actually say, thank you, Virginia. Thank you. It was a pat on the back, verbally. Thank you. Remember saying thank you to someone else and actually sincerely meaning it, not a mechanical, have a nice day, but saying thank you and meaning it. That woman has changed. She is so productive. She is so positive because she knows that I care about her as a living, breathing human being. To care and to love, to show it, to communicate it, to mean it. It is so powerful. We are so sophisticated, but somehow, somewhere, in every aspect of our society, we seem to have lost, with all that sophistication, the ability to be human. If we love, if we care, we change people. It creates significant emotional events. It is so powerful. It works. If it doesn't, you can always go for the bicycle. But it can work. It will work. Good luck. Thank you.